there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold, but things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I had today. Except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Oh, good morning. How you doing? This is 1100 WSGI, and this is One Street Over. I'm Utah Laverne. Mayor Billy Vogle's in the house. We're just discussing what happens on leap year. This is not leap year. Today is the final day of February. Welcome into it. It's going to be gorgeous. It is. We are living right. It is going to be beautiful. We're getting a little preview of spring this morning. You know, you got to pull in here, pull that microphone in, get on that microphone, Mayor Vogel. Get on it.
Well,
Come
I feel
on.
lazy. My board's a beautiful drive in.
Oh my goodness, yes, it is absolutely gorgeous, and so welcome to it, Robertson County. Your mayor is in the house, and it's just it's so weird because normally you're here on the third Tuesday.
Right.
Because you come in after the commissioners meeting, but because of President's Day, January and February are different because the commissioners end up meeting on the fourth Monday instead of the third, and so that brings you in a little bit later. And now the very last day of the month. So
and it messes up our meetings a little bit because
right,
like the first January we get all of our meetings in before
right.
the county commission, our committee meetings, but then in February we kind of get a late start. And
I get that.
Last night we had some meetings before county commission, and also was picture night where everybody gets their picture took as a group.
Photo day, picture day. So yeah, because y'all have those up in the courthouse and archives the members, and that especially for somebody that's been with the county commissioner. I'm sure you look through there and see old friends that have moved on, and you know, and so it's very cool to see those memories. I've looked at those pictures, and so it's fascinating to see all the, because I don't know all these folks. I keep reminding everybody I'm from Kentucky. I don't know everybody's backstory, but I'm learning backstories. I hear this one's related to this one, and this one's related to that one, and all those things. So that's always fascinating.
Yeah,
so.
When I first got on the county commission in 1998,
Wow,
I was one of the youngest ones.
Oh, bless.
And now
yeah.
I'm probably one of the oldest ones still in the court system. And,
yeah.
You know, it's I've served with some great people. I mean, some great people. Great.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen some of the old pictures, and I can't believe how young we look back in. And
Yeah.
And now look at us.
See, I do that with broadcasting because when I started at WLAC in Nashville, I was the kid. I was still in college, and so I was the baby. And now I'm one of the old folks. I'm one of the old ones.
Bunch of, Jerry House and all of them, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I didn't work with Jerry until later on, and I only worked with him for a short period of time. But I was always with the WLAC group, the talk radio. Phil Valentine and I got to Nashville. He got here a few years after me, but we worked together forever. Now, we went in different paths when he was at 99.7, of course, but we were always associated with each other because, it's just Nashville radio. So, that's one of those things. It's a lot of fun. They have a luncheon pretty much once a month or maybe every couple of months that a bunch of them get together, and I never get to go because I'm always working. Well, it's very difficult because they always do it when I'm working.
Well, when I first heard your name on the radio, you turned Laverne and all this, and somebody said, she lives in Springfield. I'm like, wow, we got a celebrity in Springfield.
Listen at you. There's some celebrities here, but I ain't one of them. There's some really cool people that live up here in Robertson County, y'all, I'm telling you. So, but anyway, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. So, had the commissioners meeting last night, and and I've got something I'm so excited about that I have for my Greenbrier people. Do you remember me telling you about my friends from Ukraine? And I had them here and took them around to find smoking barns and all that kind of thing. Well, they were here the fall right before the war started. And Sasha and Natasha, and they were actually in here, and we did an interview with them. And Sasha doesn't speak any English, but Natasha, she actually speaks English with a Texan accent. Their daughter, Regina, is in school at Harding University. Well, they're getting ready to have spring break. So she's coming to Nashville and going to be staying with some friends of mine at Madison. And so I messaged Regina last night, and she is going to come and spend the day with us Monday at Greenbrier and talk to my students because, her family, her dad's still in Kyiv. And her sister's in Switzerland, and her mom's back and forth between Kyiv and Poland. And it's amazing. Her family story is amazing. And so she's going to come and share some about Ukraine with my students, and I'm so excited about that. And she's just not that much older than them either, so I just kind of tease that to kind of let y'all know. And I don't think I'll have her in here, but it's fascinating.
Has she still got family over there?
Well, yeah, her daddy.
Well, how close are they to the
They're in Kyiv. They're in Kyiv. So they're all over the place. And her mom is one of the liaisons that's working with, they're feeding. Natasha gave us a report on Sunday, and I forget how many thousand people they're feeding every day, helping to feed in the front line areas, and power will go out in Kyiv and all that. We just passed the 1 year anniversary, and that's why I mention it. I know things you kind of put them out of your mind and you forget. Well, there's war still going on in Ukraine, and there are a lot of very innocent, amazing people over there that are just standing strong. Sasha can't leave. He is of military age, and Regina's his youngest, and she's at college, and then their oldest is a doctor. So he can't leave. Natasha, she can kind of go back and forth, but he's there. I've got other friends that the parents were here for a time, and then they went back because they had such a hard time navigating American health care, and they had need that they just couldn't fulfill here. It's incredible. But her brother can't leave, and so it's amazing, this stories. But I think it's going to be fascinating for the students to hear from somebody who's from Ukraine. And she was actually Regina was going into high school just as the first invasion, when Donetsk fell. And they came out of Donetsk and went into Kyiv to escape what was happening in Donetsk. And so they were upended then. Their family still owns property in Donetsk. So it's fascinating.
Is it true Ukraine's about the size of Texas?
I'm not sure about that. I'd have to look. But it's a big, it's a lot of land. And it's amazing. Here they had such peace, and everything was just going. To hear Natasha and all those who live there unpack the story, it's breathtaking. It really is. And so I'm excited to be able to bring somebody in to Greenbrier on Monday that is just a couple of years older than these kids, and to hear it from her perspective. Yeah. Now we have got a Ukraine family in the Greenbrier area in the lower class, like in middle school or elementary. That is my understanding, that are refugees, and so I think that would be a fascinating story to hear. But anyway, I just want us to remember the war in Ukraine is still happening, and you need to be praying for these folks, and you need to be praying for God to move mightily, because, there are some devout, on fire Christians in Ukraine that are just seeing to the needs of orphans and the elderly and those who can't leave, who just desperately need help. And they're taking care of them. And the churches are taking care of them. They're just flooding in with help. And they're the ones getting it done. They're the ones getting it done. But anyway, so we're going to hear from Regina on Monday at Greenbrier, and I got confirmation on that last night. So I'm very excited about that. So what have you got?
Well, first thing I'm going to talk about, I'll be so glad when March 12th gets here. The time changes.
Oh, praise the Lord.
So we're not about 12, 13 days away.
I know.
But,
I can't
right
wait.
now, the days are getting a minute longer every day. But still, like driving in this morning, the sun was coming up. And,
yes.
And it's just nice when you go home in the afternoon that there's still some daylight left.
I can't wait.
Last night, I didn't get home to about 8:30 or 9 o'clock because of the county commission. We had so much on the plate last night. It was one of the biggest agenda meetings we've had in a long time. We had a lot of zoning on the menu last night, because last month we didn't have any zoning, and there's a reason for that, and I'll explain to it when we get down there. But
well, let's go, because we're 10 minutes in, 11 minutes in.
10 minutes in?
We better get going.
All that because it tickles me first.
Well, we can chit chat afterwards, but let's get to it. Let's get to the meat of it.
I didn't have anything really on communications to the county commission, but I just want to say that the sheriff's department, for the third year in a row, was recognized as the best run jail in the state.
Wow.
And
that's impressive.
The jail is something like, for lack of a better word, it's a money pit.
Well, sure.
Because the clientele there don't really like to take care of stuff. And
right.
Our building and grounds maintenance constantly, at least 2 guys stay over every day, working on whether it's commodes or dishwashers or whatever. It don't, the people there don't really care about the building itself.
Well, they don't want to be there.
But,
so there's not an incentive unless it's on good behavior to get out early.
It's hard to get people that want to work there.
Right.
It really is, and they have been through so much with COVID, trying to keep the jail safe, healthy, and I can't imagine having to work there. But if you're going to be in law enforcement, sometimes you have to start out at the jail and work your way up. But I think the sheriff told me last time I talked to him, he's about 28 people short.
Wow.
And it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
If we raise the salaries on the bottom and get some people that's got law enforcement experience, then they'll turn around them people, they'll raise their salary, and the people are leaving and going to where the best salaries are.
Right.
And it's that way with the whole world, what I understand, as far as jobs. It's whether it's EMS, firefighters. Right now, if you're a essential worker, as we call them, you got to be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're hard to get. It's hard to get these people. And when you train them, sometimes they leave and go to a better job. Yeah.
Well, and as you said, if you come into a situation and you're working at the prison and say that's an entry-level position, then you're absolutely going to be looking to move up. The thing is, I think that some people have, it's just like teaching. I feel this is a calling, and some people might see, here's something, if you hadn't thought about it, if you're somebody that is looking for something different to do, go work in the prisons and be Jesus to those men and women.
Yeah.
And because I know people who volunteer and spend an awful lot of time in the prison in a ministry perspective, and you could certainly do that and be employed. And I just think that's something. Maybe plant that seed with people. If you're really wanting to make a difference in lives of people and change things, and you've got a ministry heart, look into working in the jail and minister to people at their worst moments.
Yeah, I don't want to see people leave, but if you want to be a TBI agent or move up to a state trooper or something, starting out in county sheriff's department is a good place to start.
You better believe it.
Yeah, get some experience and we the leadership class came last week and visited all county government and city government, and Jordan was carrying them from place to place. But they got to go where the sheriff's got his simulator, where you go in a store and somebody's holding it up, or there's a shooter or something.
Really?
Yeah, and you're in there and you get to play like you got the gun, but they'll run a civilian by you, and it's real fast and
Sure.
And they say it's really neat. I haven't never done it, but everybody at leadership said they said it was very, very neat, and we let this police departments all over the county use this thing too.
Okay.
Where they're in car chases and stuff.
Where is that? Is it?
It's at the sheriff's department. It used to be down there at the old Track Supply building, which that's where the Tennessee department does driver's license. But we moved back into the sheriff's department.
Okay.
With it, and hey, it's a lifesaver.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know they've got the shooting range down at the wastewater plant because we hear all that going on all the time.
Well, they go out to landfill
so
too.
I thought they might be out there, and because I mean that's I hear them going out, and when I hear it, I just thank God that we have people watching out for us. I think this weekend I heard a lot of fire out there, and so somebody was practicing. I've told you the story about right after 9/11 happened. Yeah. We, as always, if you see something, something suspicious, say something. And middle of the night, I mean, we knew there was. I don't know. I guess we knew there was a shooting range over there. But we were still relatively new to the area, and we heard automatic weapons fire going on. And I called dispatch. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this is odd. And it was our SWAT team practicing at night over at the plant. I was like, cool, that's pretty cool. But anyway, so what else? Where do you want to start?
I did this new business, but I'm going to do it just right off the bat. Angie Groves, which is our county court clerk, she was nominated and elected to be the chairman of all county court clerks in Middle Tennessee this year. She's the chairman of that group.
Wow.
Yes, Robson County is being mentioned everywhere across the state right now.
That's amazing.
We've got a lot of good people that's working and moving forward. All right, we went to the elections first, and after we had Keith Hoover is going to replace Rick Green on in zoning planning commission. Rick's having some health problems. He wanted to step back a little bit, and Keith is very experienced he's been a county commissioner. Keith was one of my silver bullets my first term.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He used to be chairman of the budget committee. And if I'm speaking to people in the public, and I said, do you know what R20 is or R40? Most people don't know.
Right.
And Keith does. So when he's voting on stuff, he's got knowledge in case if we had to go to a court or something in a lawsuit about zoning, he knows what he's voting on. Mm-hmm. He will finish a term for 2026. And Kay Bagby, bless her heart, she has served in county government and zoning for a long, long time. She's been very active in the community. She helps work with the Spirit Play, the Smoke Play in Adams, and the Thrasher Show. Mm-hmm. She's always stood up. Kay's had a couple knee replacements now. I think she had a hip replaced, and she just finally got to where she couldn't drive. So she's stepping down, and Cheryl Elliott from Stroudsville is going to take her place. Mm-hmm. There'll be somebody in the 7th District, and we tried to scatter them out a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't have a whole lot of people to pick from, because if somebody lives in city limits, the cities have their own zoning. So we got to try to stay out in the county with these people, and nobody really wants to serve on zoning because it can get hairy.
You can make a few people upset.
Yes, you can, and you can get a lot of phone calls. We had one gentleman that wanted to serve, and he never did make it to a meeting. He called me, said I didn't know it was going to be like this. He said I just can't do it. Yeah, before we ever got to the first meeting. So it can be hard to find people. Because really, it don't pay much. Yeah. These are people that just want to do it. So we got that behind us, and then I want to give a kudos to Tony Neal. Tony Neal's been on the industrial board for a long, long, long time. Uh-huh. And he just told me, he said, it's time for me to step back. He's got some cows. Tony's about my age, and he said I need to do things, at home now, and he resigned from the industrial board So we was lucky the industrial board just walked down the street a little bit and asked Susan McClard would she like to serve. She has worked at Regions, Commerce Union, Reliant, and now she's at Community Bank. But she's a very, very sharp person. I've dealt with her personally with my farm loans and stuff. And they asked her, did she want to be on the industrial board? And she said yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So she's going to be very qualified for the job. The industrial board's got a lot of great things going on right now. You know, of course, Margot's resigned, or retired. Retired, yeah. And bless her heart, she deserves it. And this board has got so many things going on in I-65 area.
Up around White House, oh my goodness.
It's a lot of projects going on. There's people coming in here, and there's people coming in here with jobs that we desperately need in Robbins County, because I'm tired of 60% of our workforce driving to Nashville every day.
That was me forever.
Yeah.
So.
And right now with the construction going on I-65, it seems like every day there's a bad wreck out there. So if you're going down 65, quit rubbernecking and
be careful.
Pay attention to what's going on.
Absolutely.
Because they're stopping traffic every day and having to pave. And of course, there's workers out there, too, that need to stay safe. You know, like today with sun coming in your face and your windshield's kind of nasty. It's hard to see.
You sound like you were riding with me.
Yeah.
I got in the car and I was driving right into the sun, and it was just a little bit,
it's
fog on
dangerous.
my windshield hadn't defogged yet. And I was like, I think I need to pull over until I've got everything where I can see.
Well, it's not going to be a good day to wash your car. I think they're talking about rain Wednesday
Rain
and Thursday.
tomorrow. Yeah, for the next couple of days.
It's going to be beautiful today.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're
beautiful.
Up in the 70s. So we got that done on elections and appointments. We went to the public hearing. We had, let me look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had 11 zoning issues last night. That was more than we've had in a long time. And it's kind of puzzling when with the economy, interest rates are going up. We can see that things are slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
Talking to the builders, it's been a struggle. They've got a lot of houses started. They're probably slowing down to sell some of their inventory. That don't mean people's not still moving in, but they're being more selective or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think with the interest rates going up, they're having to maybe that house that was $300,000, they're having to look at houses that's probably in the $270,000 range. You know, but still, folks, interest rates are nowhere where they was back in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, no.
And you can imagine paying 16, 17%.
Oh, I can't.
Back in those days.
I can't even. And I had a friend that purchased a home just recently, and when they did it, I hated it for them, because I thought, oh my goodness, if you'd have just bought a year ago. But then their interest rate was not as high as I thought it was. He said he ended up getting it in the 4s, I think. Now, they had super good credit, and I was stunned that they were still able to get a rate in the 4s right now, because the interest rate's so much higher than that. But so I mean, there's still some really good deals out there, and because our county is such a hot property, it's a little different. But across the country, we're definitely seeing a change.
Well, even though the housing market's probably slowed down some in Robeson County, the land market has not.
Really?
I mean, there's people still investing, paying big money, and sitting on it. Because it's, let's face it, they don't make no more of it.
Exactly.
And when this thing turns around, it may take a year. When it goes back down, you'll see people start building up again. I've noticed Springfield, though, don't look like it's slowing down any.
Oh, not at all.
I see where they're fixing to put up townhouses down South Main and back down toward where the NASCO way, back toward the woolen mill area.
Yeah.
That building there, I'm hearing a lot of stuff. I don't know how much of it's true or speculation, but they talk like townhouses and shops and everything's down there. If you'll see all the brick and stuff, that could be something really special down there, using them buildings for old brick and stuff.
I'm anxious to see what they're going to do. It's just like I've been very anxious to see what's going to happen with the theater in downtown. And so I'm just, and I've heard, I'm like you, I've heard a lot of rumors and things, and nothing specific.
I have too.
But,
I remember when the theater was, back when I was dating, back in the Stone Age. That was a hot place, the theater, and of course the bowling alley. You remember when the bowling alley up there was rolling pretty good too, but now with social media and stuff, seems like people don't maybe go to places like they used to.
I don't know. It is odd, and I talk to my students all the time about the things that they do and the things that they remember, and I'm just flabbergasted at the things that none of them never been bowling. I mean, that was something we did.
Well, the skating rink.
Go skating. You haven't been skating. You've never been skating, really? And it's just it's fascinating to me because all those were just things you did because there was nothing else to do. But as you said, they are sitting on their games. They're gaming. Oh my goodness! I've got a business communications class, and so one of my goals in that class is to get these kids, the students, comfortable public speaking. And so I've the next speech that they're doing, I said, you do whatever you want to do it on. This is more about the mechanics of speaking than it is the content of what you're going to present. So I'll let them pick any topic. The amount of so many of them that want to talk about something with gaming. And I told them they could talk about anything. So I was like, okay. But I thought, oh my goodness, is there not something that you have that's more fascinating than that game you're sitting in front of? But,
I don't want to jump from one thing to another, but you're talking about public speaking. Friday, I got the pleasure of going to an FFA banquet of high school kids, the Future Farmers of America. And a group of them stood up, and they had been on every day last week. They went to a different city and visited, whether agriculture areas, and they got up and every one of them spoke, and about the FFA, and you could tell that they had worked hard on their public speaking. They didn't slip up. They wasn't scared, and man, it was really cool. Joe Burns, was well represented. White House had two groups there at FFA. Of course, Clarksville had several FFA members, and I was shocked to see, because back when I was going to school, you didn't see any girls in FFA, and it's probably 60, 50 girls now.
What year did you graduate?
Oh man, 73.
Okay, see, I graduated in 80, and I was one of the first women. I was one of the first girls to be in FFA when that trend started back in. And our group, we had quite a few, and I was the public speaking rep and did the impromptu speaking and did all that competitively. And it is a competitive thing that you can go to state on. I went to state and spoke, and I'll tell you an interesting little Chelsea Rose, John Rose's wife. She is the head. I think she's she may be leading Tennessee FFA right now. I forget exactly what it is. If you've never heard her speak, oh my goodness, phenomenal speaker. And she, developed her skill through FFA. And she's an incredible public speaker, and she'll be in the political world eventually. She'll come on the heels of her hubby, I think. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing, but she's an amazing public speaker, and she got that skill in FFA.
FFA,
yeah. And we've got some great speakers that I've seen some of the things that they're doing at Greenbrier. They've got a real active FFA. I'm a big fan of FFA.
I've noticed that. If you learn that, you can speak in front of anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Right off the cuff.
Yeah.
You can get up if somebody needs something, they ask you a question, you're able to answer it. But there's nothing worse than getting up in front of people and being scared. Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm trying to get above anything else in business communications. I told the kids, the students, I said, I want you, if possible, and some of them are just freaked out by it, and I get that, and so I don't want them to just be completely terrified of the class, but I'm trying really hard to get them over their fear of public speaking if they still have one. There's a lot of really good public speakers already in there, but by and large, that's one of the main things I'm hoping we can accomplish in business communications. But,
I'm glad I got to put a plug in for the FFA.
Oh, yeah.
It's something
wonderful program.
I've been here almost 5 years now speaking with you, and we've never mentioned the FFA.
We've had some things in here about it because I've brought in my blue plaid.
And I didn't know you still got it?
Oh, yeah. Still fits, too. More importantly.
Yeah.
So, but, we absolutely have talked about it in here. Through the UT Extension and Elizabeth Graves and all that. She's come in and talked to us about it. So, but we do talk about it. But I'm glad that they had a chance to come out and speak to you. These kids are extremely talented. Extremely talented. So what else did you do?
Well, we was talking about, we started with planning and zoning right here. I'd say we had 11, but 6 of them was Ag 2 going to RP 80.
Oh, yeah.
And what that is, if you've got a farm or you're in the green belt, well, if you're in, our zoning's kind of based on color codes.
Right.
Ag 2 is where there's not any infrastructure really. In infrastructure,
and
I'm talking about
water taps and
you've got water and electricity, but you don't have the water lines are not capable of doing development. Mm-hmm. So you're just seeing people out in the country maybe tracking off a lot that's agriculture. And RP 80 is the biggest lot you can have that maybe to put a house on without going into subdivision type houses. And the RP 80s, you're still got agriculture, but your houses are far enough apart that it don't look like you're specking up the countryside.
Right.
And a lot of, it's depends on who you talk to. And when we was doing our growth plan, every city we went to, they had a different idea of housing. Mm-hmm. If you go out in Cross Plains and talk to them, they don't want R20, which that's 2 houses on an acre. They're against it. But then when you go to a city, we went to White House, and they want their houses close together.
Mm-hmm. Well, they know, like you said, there's not any more land, and they're trying to utilize what they have.
And developers are saying, if we're going to go in and do the roads and the infrastructure, the water, the sewer, if we can't put a bunch of houses in there, then we can't make it pay.
Right.
And pay for the price of the land, too. So it's a different, just wherever you're at. Farmers are tired, the ones I talk to mostly, of seeing the 5-acre tracts because you're losing farmland. Mm-hmm. But if a person wants 5 acres, God bless America, you can have it if you want it. But the farmers are concerned. I've talked to many farmers that come to my office and said, look, I'm losing farmland that they lease from other folks because of the growth. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. The answer to that is, at one time, I remember Nashville there's a farm used to be right down the road when I was a kid, and now it's all interstate. It's just something that's going to happen. It was interesting that yesterday I seen where North Korea is in a food supply chain, desperately need more food to feed their people. And here they're spending billions on nuclear testing, shooting rockets, yet they can't even feed their own people.
Yep.
And they, it's something. If it wasn't for agriculture, we're feeding the world a lot of places.
Yes, we are.
We really are. Mm-hmm. And we've got to do that because we don't have enough people in America to feed our. We've got more food here than probably anywhere in the country. Mm-hmm. We really do.
In the world.
There's people starving all over the world. You're right. But here in Robeson County, I can go to the east part of the county when I was soliciting the biker for the loose floor, and every day I could see that there was no biker farmers down there anymore. Mm-hmm. It had all gone development. But the western part of the county is still agriculture. We're the 5th biggest agriculture producing money-wise county in the state.
Oh, really?
Yes, we are. Robeson County is, and that's hard to believe when you see the farmland's disappearing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, you talk about you figure the land we bought 40 acres back in 1992. And there was probably, a lot of our land is hillside, but there was probably a good 10 to 20 acres of tillable land, at least 10, that it got taken out of circulation because we let it reforest. And so I see exactly what you're saying. And you do that again and again and again, and not long you don't have farmland because the big farmers will come in and they want land to lease. My brother still farms up in West Kentucky, and the fight for leasable land. He has what he owns, but he would love to farm much more. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get bigger or get out. Mm-hmm. And it's a problem in Robeson County one day. I won't live to see it, but the farms will be gone. They'll be gone because we're so close to Nashville. I had a man.
I think so too.
James Wade, he's way up there in Airtech, and he told me last week.
He's the plant manager.
Yeah, mm-hmm. He told me last week we've got to build more houses around Springfield. Mm-hmm. He said we are able to get the laborers, the workforce that we need to run this place, and most of them it's because they say they can't afford to buy a house in Robeson County right now.
Right.
And I see that. How can you make your house payments? So they, if we had more houses, maybe had more competition, it would drive the price of housing down. I have people come to me that say, we got a problem with affordable housing, but I don't see us hardly ever fixing that.
Yeah, that's something that Ryan Martin and I have talked about. He said, because I said that I pursed the question, and this has been months ago. I said, what do we do about affordable housing? And he said, define affordable housing.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, he turned it back on me, and that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean,
because everybody. You have property rights. You have your property, and you want to do the best you can with it and make the most money off of it. So who is the person that's going to say, you can take my land and build affordable housing? Who's
going to give up the land?
Yeah.
And who's going to build a house and knowing he's not going to make anything on it?
There you go.
There you can't have affordable housing and have that.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is.
Well, and a lot of people are moving that can't afford. It's just like I've got friends in downtown Nashville that some of the Egyptian community that I worked with, they qualified for Habitat for Humanity. About 5 years ago, Habitat built them a house in the inner city part of Nashville. That home, they have to stay in it for 20 years before they can do anything they want with it. By the time they finish their contract on that home, that thing's going to be worth $2 million.
Yes.
I'm not kidding. And it was a couple $100,000 to build. I don't know. It's a Habitat house, but where it is, the way they're building up the community, it is breathtaking. But they've pushed those people out that counted on that neighborhood for affordable housing. And it is just amazing because I've watched the development because I've been there, as it's been going on, and it is incredible.
Well, it's happening in Robeson County today.
Yeah.
We're seeing it right here in Robeson County.
Right.
And most of the folks that live in Robeson County that want to buy a house, and I'm talking about native Robeson County people.
Right.
They're being pushed out because of people that's coming in.
It's
They
incredible.
drove the price up where our folks is not able to buy land in Robeson County.
It's amazing.
It's I guess I don't know if for a better word, it's just a sign of the times.
Well, and I have a friend that actually just invested in some land, and the reason why he did, he said, is he's got kids that are, they're getting education and things like that, and he goes, they want to come back here. And so I saw an opportunity to invest in some land so they can, and they'll have a place. And one of my sons is talking about coming back and building on my land. And so you want to do that to preserve the land for your kids to come back if they want to come home.
And then you're going to have neighbors around you still upset because you're building houses, whether it's your family or not.
Yeah.
I hear it every day.
Yeah. I've got to do an ad here.
I was wondering when you was going to pay the bills.
We get to talking. Yeah. I love talking to Mayor Vogle, and there's just so many things that we're interested in and that have to do with the county, but then we're interested in a whole lot of stuff, too, that has nothing to do with what we're here to talk about. But I am going to talk about Cumberland Connect.
Okay.
I finally got Cumberland Connect.
Yeah,
and I'm thrilled. I am absolutely thrilled with it. It is just the best. It is wonderful. I've got a gig. My children keep telling me, Mother, you don't need a gig. That's like filling your bathtub with a fire hose. I don't care. I want it. And I'm getting ready to talk to them about doing the extender so I can get internet out in my barns, because I'm doing photography now, very, very part-time, but I'm hoping to develop that into something more. And we're going to turn our barn into a photo studio, basically. And so I need internet out there. And so as we're working on that, they've got so many options and so many things that they can help me with. And they're so easy to work with. You can call 800-987-2362, 800-987-2362, or go to cumberlandconnect.org and get your questions answered. Maybe the big question is, when are you going to be in my neighborhood? And that will happen. They've got it all laid out. I think over about the next year, we're about a year away from getting everybody the option of having Cumberland Connect that want it, because you've got to be a Cumberland Electric customer to have access to Cumberland Connect. 'Cause they basically started with the most underserved, and then they moved up to the folks that had the most options. And so I was kind of right there about 3/4 of the way in. I got it first of the year, and it's effortless. They come in and they put it on the utility pole. You'll notice the wire coming in. Then they come and attach it to the house, and then you call them and you set up an appointment for them to come in the house, and it's wonderful. If you want to know more, and maybe you're somebody that's having trouble paying for anything when it comes to internet, but it is a utility now, and we recognize that. Well, there's an affordable connectivity program, and it provides qualifying households with monthly credit to help pay for internet services, and if you're eligible, you could receive credit of up to $30 per month toward broadband service. Do you want to know more? Of course you do. Again, go to 1-800-987-2362, 1-800-987-2362, or cumberlandconnect.org. Get in touch with them today. $80 will get you a gig, and they have all other kinds of packages, but be sure and tell them U-Turn sent you. And we are talking today with Mayor Billy Vogle. As you know, he is here to discuss the county commissioner meeting.
That's right.
So what else have you got to talk about, Mayor?
Well, I'm going to say a few more things about growth, because it's like the mayor of Cross Plains, Barry Faulkner. Boy, Barry does a great job there. Cross Plains is one of just beautiful countryside of Robeson County. But the city limits does go out to the interstate, and they've got property on the interstate that has sewer. And their city rezoned some things for industrial. They've got some businesses coming in out there, and one of them's a building that I think he told me it's like 5 acres is going to be on the roof and all this. And okay, and as these people have jobs, they need people to work. Well, there you go. Cross Plains is going to have these jobs, but they're not going to have any houses for these people to live in.
Oh wow!
So somebody's going to build houses to get the workforce there, because they got jobs waiting on them. And even though the people around Cross Plains maybe say, "Hey, we don't want no houses," so it's a juggernaut. You know, it's I don't know what to answer.
I did not realize Cross Plains went to the interstate.
Well, Cross Plains and Orlando goes to the interstate.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And it's because of the revenue that's out there. You run your city limits out to where the revenue's at, and that's the battle between the county and the city. The county would love to have that revenue out there. Now we don't get all the revenue. We have to split it. Here's something people don't realize: sales taxes runs the schools, and of course motels out there on the interstate is what pays our industrial board to do the things they do. And if a city votes for a sales tax increase for their city, the county does not get that increase. The county has to turn around and vote for their part of the sales tax increase, or we do without. I know, like Adams, as small as Adams is, the beer sales in Adams 10 or 20 years ago was $45,000 a year, and that's a lot of money to a little city like Adams. But we don't get a whole lot of that because finally the schools started getting liquor by the drink, which we're talking about the sin tax, whether it's lottery tickets or whatever, But it takes all these to run the school system.
You bet.
Yeah, the school system gets a lot of money out of liquor by the drink.
Yeah.
And when you're a sales tax state, it keeps the property tax down, but still, it takes a lot of money to run the school system.
I've got a comment here from Charlene Sullivan that runs my father's house, and she says right now they have 5 or 6 homeless that have jobs but cannot find a place to live.
Cannot find a place to live.
Yeah.
I know there's people staying out there at Springfield Inn that's staying by the night.
Yep. It's very expensive.
I know nonprofit said went out there and paid for one night, and the next night they got to find somebody else for families. There was a lady that had 3 kids and they was living out of their car. Had no place to take a bath or nothing. And I'm glad that she did that, because I'm concerned about the nonprofits. We are, of course, around Christmas everybody's gun-ho about doing this kind of work and helping these people. But when it gets pretty, we quit thinking about the nonprofits. Still, there's people in need. We're going to get way off of what happened last night.
It's easy to do.
I took a tour last week of the Open
Door Pregnancy and Resource Center, and their dinner is Monday night. A week.
Yeah,
this coming Monday.
You would be surprised the work and them volunteers do. There's something pretty cool as these women are being reunited with their children and stuff. They get points, and then they get like Monopoly money. And they get to go in there and use this Monopoly money to buy clothes for their kids and toys, diapers, shampoo. And these people that's never had money to go buy and pay for stuff, how exciting it is to them. The stories that you hear there are really just, It's unreal. I'm glad that this lady did come in, because I don't want to forget about the nonprofits.
Absolutely, and
They're all
just love
struggling.
on them.
They're struggling.
And so don't forget, this is a big fundraising time for Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center coming up. The dinner is on Monday night, and we'll keep talking about that and reminding you of that. Also, Decisions, Choices, and Options are going to be in here in a couple of weeks to talk about their big fundraiser at the end of March. So those are two that, and can't say enough about my father's house, and then also Isaiah, the Isaiah 117 house that they're trying to get open. There's so many. I mean, there's so many places that you can make a difference, folks.
Well, Casa. When
Casa.
they go in there and get these children at night that mom and dad have been arrested, there's no place for them to go.
You bet.
Or, they're sleeping on somebody's on a chair in somebody's office until they can get them put where they can be treated right. And of course, the opioid lawsuit money that the county's getting out of this lawsuit with Johnson & Johnson, there wasn't anything for the families in that package. And I was hoping to be able to give them some money to help them do the work they got to do.
Yeah, for Casa and Isaiah 117 and all the things. But I tell you what, let me go ahead and do one more break here, because I've got two I've still got to do. We've been just all over the place. I'm going to come back, and you're going to get real diligent about staying on the topic, and we're going to get through this meeting. Let's talk about Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. I haven't checked their website in a couple of days, and that's one of those things that if you want to know what's going on with Corbin, the best way to stay up to date is to go to their website, or to their Facebook page, actually, because they do a fabulous job keeping you up to date there. That's where you can keep up to date on how their hours are going to work and when they're going to extend into their spring hours. They've been on winter hours for a while now. Still showing, as I pull up the hours, it's 10 to 4, Monday through Saturday, and Sunday from 1 to 4. Because let's face it, guys, I know it's going to be 70 degrees today and sunny, and we're going to have some really nice weather over the next week or so. But March, we could get snow. You could get a hard freeze all the way up until mid-April, and even to last couple of years, we've had some pretty hard freezes even after the 15th. The rule has always been, don't plant your tomatoes until tax day, because if you do, you could end up losing them. So just kind of be aware of that. But go and talk to Amy. She's the expert about it. I know we're all watching our evergreens, wondering what's going to happen when things start growing. My ivy looks pitiful because of that polar vortex we had at Christmas. But all these questions that you have, go and talk to Amy right now. 4920 Highway 161. Make a plan to go out there and get all your bedding plants for your garden. Brian Pulley said that from the United Way, he said they did all of their bedding plants for their garden last year from Corbin, had the best garden they've ever had. So they're not going to do this, get a few here, get a few there. They're going straight to Corbin and getting everything this year because it was such a success last year. If you've got a question, call them at 615-384-3185, 615-384-3185. Talk to them about their CBD products that are produced from Robertson County plants. And just the best stuff when it comes to inflammation issues. Go and talk to them today, and be sure and let them know that U-Turn sent you, and thank them for being one of our longtime sponsors of One Street Over. Okay, here we go. Mayor Vogle, go.
Well, we were still talking about zoning before we got off on a lot of stuff. But we've changed in our zoning office how they do business, trying to be more public friendly. When you go in there, instead of being told what you can't do, we're trying to tell you what you can do.
I like that.
And that's what people want to hear. They want to know what they can do. And this here is one package for one zoning issue last night we had. Like I said, we had 11. And as you see, there's a map of the property. It'll tell you who the neighbors are on there, the size of the roads around it. And this one here is like going from Ag 2 to R40, which is a house on 4,000 square feet lot. And it tells you what the minimum water line dimensions of the lot. So when we're voting on zoning issues, our county commissioners are getting more and more informed about, and of course the public hearing, if you're against it or for it, you can come speak. So everybody's got a chance to talk about growth. And growth, it's just something that we've got to stay on top of. It needs to be planned right. When you're talking about more growth, you're talking about more trash. The jail, 3% would be incarcerated. The court systems are staying full. It's something that it's going to take money to fund it, to fund growth. Our schools and stuff. And you go on thing you got to fight, it's maybe the impact fee. We're raising that and turning that thermostat on growth. But last night, I don't remember this many zonings coming in front of us, and eventually we're going to have more people just to handle the inspections and stuff of all this property.
We know Trent Cobb is going to be a county inspector.
Yeah, we've hired him to help us out, and I've heard.
And he says he's not inspecting his properties.
Well,
that was the thing he said the other day. He says, "Of course, I'm not going to inspect my
we're
properties."
very careful about stuff like that.
Yes, so let's just clarify that right now.
Trust me, county government is under a microscope.
Yes.
About everything we do, and we'll move in there to the resolutions because we had some resolutions last night, and you're going to see this in here is. Like the ambulance service, we've bought 2 used ambulances because it's taken 2 years to get a new one, and we bought 2 that's got 130,000 miles on it. We're having them restriped for Robeson County because we're replacing one that had 330,000 miles.
Oh my
on
goodness!
It. And it, we got to have good ambulances, even when they're not running up and down the road. Most of the time they're still idling.
Yeah.
Because the air conditioning in the back. But these here, we ordered some that didn't have any of these striker cots. And if you ask me, what is that? That's these cots would helps load these people up. And I'm talking about not heavy people, but if you've ever tried to pick somebody up off the ground that's passed out, it's a dead weight. There's nobody to help you.
Yeah.
And our number one safety issues in the county with our employees is people getting hurt with their backs.
Yes.
Well, these cots for these ambulances, it's 3 of these cots. They're $140,000. For all 3 of them. Folks, when you get into healthcare, nothing is cheap.
No.
That was passed last night. Here's a buyout. I lost my assistant EMA director, which was Amanda Porter. I lost her to Hickman County. She went down there and became the new director. And kudos to her. She moved up to where she's the boss of a county now. But we had to do a buyout of her comp time and stuff. And see, we're accountable for all these days people work and paying, what we do. So that had to go through the budget committee. And,
right.
And then it had to come to county commission to pay for that.
So you hiring a new person?
I got I got about 10 applications for a new EMA assistant director on my desk right now. I'm going to start interviewing people. This is a very important job as we're moving along with our Motorola 911 system. It's just brand new we're working on. Take about 15 months to do this. And, of course, we have an emergency plan in case, Lord forbid, that 2 tornadoes come into Robeson County. We need everybody on the same page. If you notice the train derailment and all that hazardous waste.
Oh, yeah.
That's EMA is very, very much in when tractor trailers pull over with diesel fuel spills, how involved they are and stuff
You bet.
like that. Hazmat and then they do the weather to tell us like when the storms coming in. Like, here's another buyout or payoff, or it's a payout estimated for. We lost our director of animal control. He, folks, that is a tough job. Anything to do with the animal shelter, you're dealing with animals every day that are barking and they're crying for somebody to please love them and carry them home. And I guess it's when you get so many animals coming in, and some of them have to be put down because of disease or maybe being hurt with cars running by them. And he told me one day that when he was working at another animal control, it wasn't Robeson County, that he had put down 17 animals in one day.
Oh, man.
And he said, can you imagine how I felt when I got home that night?
Oh.
Well, he's leaving and maybe just he's burnt out, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And right now I've got an opening for that. We're asking for people that are qualified if they want to work in animal control. And the good thing about it is we're building a brand new building to help these animals have more room to roam. The walls are up, the roof's up, they're inside wiring, so it's not like you're going to just an old animal control. It's going to be a brand new facility. Even a room where the vet comes and treats these animals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be and it's something that's been needed in Robeson County a long time. If you're going to be in animal control, you need a decent building for people to work out of.
Right, for sure.
So that went through last night. Okay, the hospital, Northcrest, had some funds come in, and they donated $28,000 to the health department of Robeson County. I'll tell you, Northcrest is doing a lot to try to we've had to change, and they're so involved in the community now, trying to be a good citizen in partnership with Robertson County. Mr. Passon was at the EMS meeting yesterday, and told us he'll be there every month. He wants to hear the problems with the ambulances and how we make things better working with Norcrest.
HCA, the parent company, I mean, amazing. I've got 2 children working for HCA, and amazing company. They really are. They do a lot for the community.
And
So,
donating money like this to the health department. I tell you, Robertson County Health Department is one of the best kept secrets in the county.
truly is.
It really is. They do a lot. All right. Here's a resolution come from the trustee. When we are collecting back taxes, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And sometimes these properties will sit on the tax list for years, not gaining any money for the taxpayers of Robertson County. And we're hiring a company that other counties is using to go out and collect our fees for us. And the thing is, you do not pay them. When this property is sold, they get their fee out of that instead of us paying them, and they only get paid when they collect the money from back taxes. And it's a win-win for everybody. So it's if we had to chase everybody for back taxes, we would probably have to hire a lot more people and do the paperwork.
Yeah.
We've already got Chancery Court and the cities and stuff work with the county to get property we got property maybe spent on the book for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And nobody wants to bid on it
Yeah.
because it may be some property that has been abused or it's not big enough to do anything with. And, one day I looked at a piece of property and I thought, man, I know everybody on this road. Why is there a piece of property? Found out it was a guy's driveway where the attorneys had left off that driveway strip. And I told him, I said, your driveway's in back taxes. So he went and bid on it right quick and got it and was awarded it.
Sure.
And but this company here is going to help us with that, about trying to get the taxes and even personal property taxes where you maybe got a business and stuff where they got tow motors and all that. All right. This here is something, and I know this is 4 minutes to 8, and I'm glad I got to it. We voted resolution 3021. We're fixing to have here you go, folks, Equalization Board is fixing to do the reappraisal. Robertson County, you can either have a 4-year cycle, 5-year, or 6-year. Robertson County's always done a 5-year cycle on the state coming in and reappraising our property. And your property is reappraised based on the sales of values in your area.
Okay.
So you're going to see some pretty big hikes, I imagine.
Oh, I know.
I'd
So
say
get
at least,
ready.
I'd say it could be up to 10%. Yeah. And that's what the state bases these. The county don't do it. The state reappraises them, and it's what we set the tax rate on. So
Get ready. We knew it was coming.
it's
so there you
coming.
go.
This is the year, and we won't see it again till 2028, which I probably won't be here. And but I can't imagine as Robertson County grows, what's it going to be like in 2028.
I can't. Just
I
5
tell
years.
people, you're not going to know this county in 20 more years.
Oh, it's been amazing just in the last 3 or 4 since just right before COVID, and what's gone on. Better keep going.
All right.
Yep, we get down,
Hey,
go down a rabbit hole.
The show here are very transparent. Even if you want to give away the department, here's something for the highway department surplus property. I'm looking at ice machine, 2 hydraulic jacks that don't work, a water tank that's got a hole in it. We account for everything that's surplus. This stuff will be sold as scrap and turned back into the county. We took off a portion of a road in District 7, which is out towards Cedar Hill. It wasn't nothing but a turnaround on a dead end of a farm back there that's has no value. Nobody lives there, so why should the county keep it up?
Yes.
And it was about a mile and something section back in there that's been cut off now. It's no longer on the road map. This came from the highway department. We approved that, and here we are running down right quick. The sheriff had some. A surplus property. Here's a skillet from the kitchen, 6 desktops, 4 laptops, 51 cell phones that were all out of service, and here's a 2004 Jeep that's sitting somewhere with a red tag on it. All this is going to be discarded, and we had to vote on that to show that what goes in someday does come out.
I love it.
Yep.
That's great.
It's
See,
very
you got through
transparent.
it.
Very
You got through it.
transparent.
I'm so proud of you, Mayor.
Yep.
We got through it. There you go. We didn't talk about we didn't waste too much time. We got through it, and I've still got a minute to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team, my friends in real estate, and oh my goodness, could they have a lot to say about zoning and housing and pricing and all of those things. Do you have questions? Did you hear something that the mayor said and you're like, oh, what is that going to mean for me? Reappraisals, all of that. You got questions? Call Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. They specialize in Robertson County properties because they're in Cross Plains. They've been there for over 20 years, but they buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. Barry is the marketer of the team, came out of a marketing background. Rebecca, she's been at this a long time, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. They're so good at what they do. They're a part of a great team, Exit Realty Garden Gate team, a huge team that say, too, are you interested in being a realtor? Well, come on in. And they will mentor you and help you into the industry and get you absolutely acclimated to where you know exactly what you're doing. Now, if you want to connect with them, call them at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or go to sellwithbecky.com or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com, and be sure and let them know that U-Turn sent you. And I've also got to say, we are in our Bible reading today. We're finishing up Numbers. Today's Numbers 35 and 36. And Psalms 52. So if you're reading along with us at Bethlehem Baptist, reach out to Rachel. She's going to be here on Friday and talk a little bit more about that. But that's our Bible reading for today. I hope you'll do it with us. If not, just go ahead and start on up. And Mayor, thank you for being here so much. Say goodbye.
I work for Robertson County today.
I got you. There you go. Appreciate you, brother. God bless. Have a great day. This is 1100 WSGI.